Well, speaking of ISIS, this is Foreign Affairs magazine. Apparently, ISIS is transforming now that it's beaten, more or less beaten in Iraq and Syria. Patrick, ISIS is transforming, according to this article, which some may view as being policy more than commentary. They're saying that ISIS is transforming from a regional threat to a global threat, and really we should be shaking in our beds as a result. But of course, as you said to me just before the program, Patrick, if ISIS is transforming from a regional threat to a global threat, and its means of doing business, shall we say, are changing, it's no longer anything to do with creating an Islamic State.
No, and it can't be called ISIS, because ISIS stands for the Islamic State of Iraq and Sham, or Iraq and Syria. Okay, so it represents a physical space here. And if you look at that foreign policy article, you pointed this out perfectly, Mike, that this is more a communicating policy than it is commentary of what's really happening. So this is what the West want ISIS to be, in terms of policy, because this justifies a massive security apparatus and more overblown, bloated budgets on security across the board. And what this does, this sort of commentary by foreign policy, which is the mouthpiece
of Foreign Affairs,
Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
Is that the mouthpiece of the Council on Foreign Relations?
Yeah.
Okay, and Chatham House by extension. So what they're doing there is, instead of talking about this huge victory in Syria by the Syrian Arab Army, okay, and by the Hashdi and the Iraqi security forces in Iraq, instead of talking about that, instead of celebrating that, instead of giving them the credit that they're due, and it's really important they get that credit, Mike, especially considering Iraq's recent history and what the United States, Britain, and others have done to that country and created the conditions which have fomented groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. It's important to give them credit, because it is their victory at the end of the day. And it's a sorely needed victory for the people of that country. And believe me, they know that in the Middle East. They know exactly what they've done. They know what they've achieved. They know how significant it is historically. Ditto in Syria. The only people who don't know it is the people in the West, Mike, because this is not being communicated. It's being obscured, and Trump's taking credit for defeating ISIS, and Michael Fallon's taking credit for defeating ISIS a couple of weeks ago, but they're not giving credit to the people who have actually won the battle on the ground. And these are the same governments that have been backing and arming terrorists in the Middle East now for the last 6 years, okay, arming them heavily, by the way, and training them and giving them all sorts of political support, various moderate rebel groups. So it's no surprise to me why the media is completely standoffish on this issue right now.